Oh, it's Polly.
Oh, wait for Polly.
Oh, hello. We're beyond Corbett. Maybe that can be our new.
We're beyond Cora. And then the last meeting's attempt. Hello. Right, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is the planning committee meeting of Froome Town Council, 20th of April, 2023. My name's Steve Tanner. I'll be chairing this evening. As ever, we want to make our meetings available to as many people as possible. So we're using the hybrid setup of here in person and online via Zoom. Panelists on Zoom, please use the electronic raise hand by clicking on the participants button at the bottom of your screen. Any attendees on Zoom, please pose questions through the Q&A boards. Attendees' names will become visible on the questions board for the record as your question is answered. Tonight, Jane and Catherine are here to clerk, and Hannah will manage the questions board and participant settings. The meeting will be recorded for minutes in purposes and will be also live streamed to our YouTube channel. Thank you. Item number 2 on the agenda, to agree apologies of absence received. I've got apologies from Philip Campagna and Lisa Millard and Andy Jones. We need to vote on that, don't we? Oppose that. Great, thank you. Item number 3, declarations of members' interests. No, great, none. Item number 4, agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 30th of March, which I've got here. Thank you, Fiona. You weren't here, were you? That's majority. Item number 5 on the agenda, consider major planning applications received. Over to Catherine.
Can you hear me? Okay, brilliant. Okay, the first one we are looking at is Mendip Drive, and that's 211, and it's a single-story side extension. So we've got the site plan and the location plan. See, it's similar to all the other ones. And this is the existing plan and existing roof plan. It's only a bungalow, so there's only a ground floor plan. And those are the existing elevations. And then these are the proposed plans. So they are planning to convert the garage into a small studio with a loo and a shower. Not a kitchen though, so it's not self-contained. And then they are also planning some internal reconfiguration and a small extension to the front of the house. And they're including an air source heat pump as well, and I think some other better insulation and things like that. And then that is the new roof plan and the new block plan for how it would be were it to be passed. And then there are the elevations, so it's going to be re-rendered, new cladding. And there's other elevations for it. So I think, the only issue with it is the extension to the front. If you look at it in, context, the front extension is going to jut forward past this, the neighbour to the left, but there's no drawings in context. From Google Maps, I think there's a window here, but again, no drawings in context, so I can't be sure. And obviously don't know what's behind that window, whether it's a cloakroom or a living room or what. So I think if drawings were in context, it'd be great to see. But I think the Civic Society said something similar as well. Yes, they think that the front elevation will be a significant change to the street scene, which it will be. There's a partial loss of the front garden, and they think the replacement of the garage as a studio isn't great for the parking. But these bungalows, I think they're 1960, so I imagine the garage doesn't fit a modern car in it anyway. And there does still seem to be a lot of parking, but I can understand the concern. If it's a studio for visitors, where are they going to park? Yeah, I think that's that for that one. This one. Yeah, that's existing. That one's proposed. So the green is the new, the changes. Oh yeah, 53.
Is there a street scene?
I can get you a street scene. And that's what Fiona's doing right now.
Oh.
Where's the little person?
That looks like bouncing like a.
So it's, sorry, it's on the screen now. So it's this one with the white carport, thank you. And then it'll be this neighbour to the left.
There's this window here.
There's that window, but I don't know, without drawings, I don't know whether it will cut in front of that or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, which it almost definitely will. But again, if that's just into a lobby, it's less.
Any comments on the filter?
No, there weren't any.
It's really secure, no capitals, no spaces. Really
The comment about the street scene, I sort of get it, but a lot of these bungalows are sort of offset anyway, aren't they?
Yes, they are. So they're all slightly set back if we keep going down their road, but they are all identical as 19. So there's no other precedent for changes. Like they even match the houses.
Yeah.
Oops.
So, hold on, sorry, I'm being dumb. It's the white carport on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they want to turn into.
So there's a garage behind that.
Right.
Hang on, which you, sorry.
Oh, I'm looking back, yeah, okay.
So you can see the garage. Sorry. You can see the garage behind it, Fiona, and then they want to put a new roof on the carport so they can use it as an area to sit out in, I assume.
And the extension will come. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If I go to the elevations, you'll see it better.
Yeah.
So that's existing. And then
Okay.
so that this will be what it looks like. So it's very different to the rest of the street.
Not such a bad thing.
No, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, can I ask you to use the microphone just in case anyone sees them wrong?
Go back to the area, Google
Yeah.
view. It looks like, although there is, kind of a lot of light coming in through the carport, it looks like any light blocking out that house next door is from its own vegetation,
Yeah.
trees and bushes.
Think that they're putting a heat pump and a load of insulation in, and that's a positive.
I'll make a note of that, Fiona.
Yeah,
Yeah, I must admit,
and they're upgrading. Like, that to me is a massive positive.
yeah.
If the owners of the other house haven't complained, but they have been notified, then yeah, fair enough, I think.
I don't have a problem with it, I must admit.
I think it must be easy to for them to visualize it, because if it's going out to the same level as the carport, or is it coming out further than the existing carport?
The new extension.
Mm.
Yeah, so they'll be converting the garage as is.
Yeah.
And then adding an extra extension to the front.
Right.
Yeah, which is
No, the
No.
carport
On
becomes
the other
a
side.
deck.
It's like like a seating area, I think.
Yeah,
hang on, I'll go back.
And the
to
extension is,
The other
if you look
side.
at it on the right.
they're creating a nice little outdoor
Mm.
space.
Yeah.
So the garage becomes the studio. Underneath the carport becomes somewhere to sit. Then extension to the left at the front.
At the front.
So on that grassed area at the front, it'll take up quite a relatively big amount of that grassed area, which will protrude out in front of
Which,
neighbouring property.
if you have a look at the proposed site plan, you can see it a little bit.
Mm.
This will be a seating area with a fence in front of it, and then that's extension, that's a chain stair.
Certainly a large lawn, and that's like a shame to lose that, but that's not to us, really.
No.
Really?
The more that's built on these 1970s developments, the more that's built on the lawns. There's many driveways being put there instead of
Mhm.
lawns, and it is a drainage problem, and it's something that we do need to work out whether we, you know, I don't know, not a stick but a carrot, to maintain biodiversity and good drainage in the area, because otherwise you have a real runoff problem. All these lawns were designed with the size of the roof in mind, and how much rain falls on that roof, and then how much drainage comes, and natural drainage. Otherwise, it's all just too overwhelming, isn't it? And boiling hot.
That's true.
Mm.
From the look of the garden, there's not a massive amount of biodiversity there, though. Although I agree with you about the drainage.
Right, where are we?
That is within the guidelines of the planning committee. It doesn't necessarily, it's slightly contentious, but it doesn't necessarily break any of the rules. And we were just noting that from a
Okay.
climate perspective going forward, we need to kind of work out, something positive for people who are keeping good green spaces, aren't they? I think it's a comment rather than
Yeah, sure. I think the whole concept, the whole topic of drainage is, as you say, it's massive. I mean, it's, there's something I saw the other day about how developers can put, proper suds drainage on housing rather than just building attenuation ponds and stuff like that to alleviate flooding and to stop the massive runoff and to keep it in the ground effectively.
maybe, but if they're doing that, that's just a sidestep, isn't it? That's not leaving it as it is. I mean, if you walk along Critchell Road, so many of them have been blocked over. So many of the lawns have gone.
Yeah.
So many of the trees have gone. So many of the bushes have gone. It's boiling in the summer to walk along there. There's no shade. It's miserable, and it must be difficult to live there for that same reason. And that is up to us, because this is a creep. So that's up to us to signal that when people do planning, because every single planning thing that we put forward, and we've got a climate awareness, policy overall, we need to consider those things, not just like what is involved in the internal, upgrade of the house, I think.
We could.
Okie dokie.
I mean, they're not getting, I mean, they are keeping quite a bit of the grass on this one, aren't
Yeah, I mean, I think that there will still be a grassed area there,
they? Yeah.
and
They're
appreciate
not
that-
paving the whole front of
not
the house,
paving
are they?
over.
No.
Appreciate it will have some impact in that respect, but I think also there is this like potential for it to impact on the neighbouring property. But I think, as you've said, you know, subject to the neighbours not objecting.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
actually, given all the other improvements they're making to the property, you know, in terms of the, you know, the internal enhancements, the upgrades, the air source heat pump and what have you, then you know, I think it will change it from its original design, you know, in terms of the space out the front of it. Maybe that is inevitable, but I would say subject to the no objection from the neighbours, then you want to support the works that they are doing to upgrade it. But if neighbours do object, then obviously that's something you'd want to take into consideration.
I'm happy with that.
yeah. Happy? Right. What Jane said, basically. So I think, yeah, is with no objection, subject to no objection from the neighbour regarding overlooking.
No objection.
The contact list, we know that they're on the list to be contacted. That's broken down a few times lately.
Yeah, so they on the list of consultees, the neighbour has been consulted.
Right. Okay. I'll propose that. Great. Excellent.
I can't write that fast. Neighbour. Excellent. Right, the next one is Baker Street, and it is an application for outline plan permission with all matters reserved for 1 2-bedroom dwelling house. I wasn't born in the 80s, so I don't know what you're on about.
No, I don't. Sorry, Catherine.
It's like it's before Fiona and Hannah's time too.
Right, can we get back to the planning?
Of course we can. So this is the existing site location plan and the existing block plan. As you can see, the block plan's empty because there's nothing there at the moment. There's a wall. It's in the Trinity Conservation Area. And it's opposite the new build house.
That's
Which-
the new one, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm not sure which.
One under the W of work. That's the new one, isn't
yes,
it? Yeah.
but that is not long enough.
It's
Maybe
Baker
that's an
Street.
old plan, but yeah, that's it. Oh yeah.
Big block in front of it.
Yeah, I just didn't think that looked
Yeah,
long
that's the
enough.
new build, isn't it?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is Baker Street.
So this is the proposed block plan. And we've got proposed plans as well. So there was there was in, did you say 1860? 1860, there was a cottage there. Sorry?
Did you live there, Mark?
If you look at any of the old maps, you will see Mark as a child running around. So the thicker wall is the remaining wall from that cottage. It's currently used as casual parking and bin storage for the butchers across the road, I think. And yeah, they're planning to put in a 2-bedroom house on the site. Ground floor will include some parking. Hang on, it's just disappeared off my screen. Ground floor will include some parking with bathroom, utility room and a hallway, and then up into living room, dining, kitchen, another WC, and then up again to the bedrooms. And then these are the proposed elevations, proposed and existing rather. So
Just point to where, sorry, I was quite clear where the butchers is from where that chap is standing.
opposite and down a little bit.
That's where the.
Where that thing
is. Yeah.
I got you, I know where you are, yeah. I
So
thought
look,
it was like an Airbnb right now.
nothing there at the moment.
Oh,
That's where it's like blocked off. And we're here.
Yes, that's where we're looking at,
Okay,
the
fine.
butchers, and that's the bit that's been knocked down,
That's what we've got like that pattern.
big wooden frame thing.
Yeah, so they're proposing Juliet balcony with French doors. The original door from the original cottage will become the front door to the new house. These are the other elevations. So it's quite tall. It will be it'll be 3 stories. So it's much taller than the new build across the road. And it's much taller than the surrounding cottages. The new build directly opposite has got windows on the facade facing, so they're going to be blocked out as well. These elevations as well make it look very modern, which I'm not sure is entirely fitting with the conservation area. I think the Civic Society have said they don't. I can't speak tonight. They don't object in principle to the reinstatement of a former dwelling, but they think it's excessively high in relation to the surrounding low-rise garages and cottages. They think it'd be over prominent in the conservation area. They think the windows, as I just said, we're looking directly over private land and into and blocking the new build windows. I think there was something else, but I can't remember what it was, so that's fine. I think that's everything that I've got on it. I'm sure it will come back to me, whatever I was going to say.
Thanks. Thanks, Catherine. Any thoughts?
It looks like a very small, tall building.
That's what I was going to say. It doesn't meet the size standards.
Sorry?
It doesn't meet size.
That was my question.
No, it's
Would have been my question. Yeah.
Or for a 2-bed?
Yes,
Right.
but they're broken up into floor levels as well. So it's like one bedroom, 1 level, 1 bedroom, 2 levels, and so it doesn't meet for a 2-bed, 3-story home. Because there are no space standards for that because it's too small.
Right.
It should be minimum space standards dictate that it should be 70 square meters, between 70 and 79, and this is about 40, I think.
Is there an obligation to provide parking?
Yes.
There is a parking space.
Yeah, but
on
it
the
should be
ground floor.
1.5 spaces for 2 bedrooms, and this only has 1, so it doesn't meet that. And there's no garden or anything provided either.
Right.
Somerset's minimum space standards the same. Okay,
They
just
should,
wanted because we've now gone there because it's the because they're only advisory, aren't they?
yeah, but they're advisory nationally.
Yes. Yeah.
There isn't anywhere to put rubbish bins and stuff like that, is there, on this? Unless they're going to put them in the carport, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know where else they could put them, but then I suppose they'd fit with a car, and that depends how big their car is, I suppose.
What else could you?
What else could you? I agree with the Civic Society that it's good to like infill a house that was, previously there. What was previously there? Like, what could you put there?
There was previously what was described as a cottage there, but this was, it's 18. What did I say? 60. So
So that's over.
that
100 years.
combined with the fact that the rest of the surrounding area was different at that point in time, I think is also worth just noting that this is an outline application. So they're applying for the principle of a dwelling there. The plans are essentially indicative at this stage, but I think what that does is it gives you the opportunity to clearly say, if you feel that at this that a 3-story is just too much, but for the site, that really would be, I think it'd be very intrusive on the new or the conversion behind it, because it would be higher than that. And I think if you were stood in that space, you would really feel that it was dominating.
It'll make a very narrow alleyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Feel like a very narrow.
Like a very
So-
narrow anyway, yeah.
As outlined here, it would be higher than the new build,
Yeah.
which is also higher than the old build where it was.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
it in
And we
the-
already know how we've had to deal with complaints from
Sort of a creep
neighbours
up issue.
of the infilling of the conservation area. I have no objections to reinstating a dwelling there. That height seems a bit too much.
A 2-story would make, you know, 1-bed 2-story would probably make better sense than 3-story. I would.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, and then it would also might be slightly closer to meeting the space standards, and it would meet the parking requirement. I mean, I know how we feel about parking, and we want to dissuade people from using cars, but it would still need to meet counties, Somerset's standards. But yeah, I think it would be very dominant.
I agree. I think I would say, if we're to say what we think, I think to me it would be 2-story, 1 bed, and then also more in keeping with the local vernacular as well. So not modern.
I've heard
Yeah.
that for a while, have we?
The local vernacular.
Right. Okay, so I'm sort of guessing where we're going on this is 3 stories is just a little bit too high. 2 stories would make more sense. Maybe a 1-bed 2-story to get close to size standards, and to be more in keeping with the surrounding conservation area.
So we've got
Holly.
No objection.
I do walk round there, and it does seem a little bit derelict. So if somebody could design something that's smart, that suits the space, and is, you know, a suitable dwelling, then then it would be encouraged, I think, because round there is rather unpleasant, isn't it? So I think if it's modern, it doesn't, you know, I think if you're trying to copy the building in the area, you won't succeed. I think it's modern. It seems okay.
Yeah.
It just would smarten it up in general and provide another place to live. That seems fine to me, just not higher than everything else.
No.
What's the, you know, the new build opposite?
Uh-huh.
What's the materials that they're going to use on the outside of that? Do we know?
Yellow stone, I think.
Yellow stone.
Well,
Yeah, I think in principle, we would like to see a dwelling there. We're sort of in favour of reinstating a dwelling there. 3 stories is too high, 2 stories and 1 bed. Yeah, I don't think it's 2 stories. It is in the conservation area, isn't it?
it is in the conservation area.
So in terms of materials, do they have to match the conservation area? Or I mean, can they go modern as this is a new build in a conservation area?
They could go modern.
Yeah.
I would imagine the conservation area would probably want to see something that was in keeping with the surrounding materials, but I think the conversion or the new build opposite, you know, is all that will look different from the rest of the buildings in the conservation area anyway. And
You got those derelict, what are they? Well, garages, isn't it?
yeah, and the garages, and there's a clad container there that's been clad.
Yeah.
So I think there's already quite a mix of materials in that area. So I don't think materials will be necessarily
Determining factor.
the determining factor.
Fair enough.
As I say, the elevations are indicative because it's an outline application. So I think, you know, when we comment, you'd want to say that the indicative plans show a 3-story dwelling, which we wouldn't want to support.
Yeah,
However, a more modest 2-story may be acceptable.
So,
Is everyone happy with that? Yeah. Great.
excellent. Yeah, no objection to a dwelling, but I think 3 stories is too high. 1 bed, 2 stories would preferable, more in keeping with the area.
Great.
I think that Juliet balcony's got to go because it's looking into someone's bedroom.
Indeed. Oh yeah, we need to vote on that. Who's going to propose that? I'll leave these two to have their private meetings, shall we? Excellent. Well, we'll just carry on. Are you in favour of it?
Well, that's
Right,
us then.
that's it. Thank God for that. Thank you, everybody. The next planning meeting. Oh, of course. Yeah, I always forget that, don't I know. I wonder, I'll get it. Right. So can we all vote, please, that Catherine's comments on all the other trees, we agree with that, which is basically no comment. Can I close the meeting now? Great. Thank you all for coming along. Next planning meeting is on the 11th of May, 2013, 2023. 2013.
I'm still at school in 2013.